Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Opus Magnum. Boy, was the last recording rough. Like, I've had to take a fairly significant break in between the last recording and this one just to possibly not be so frustrated with what it was an incredibly high difficulty spike as far as this uh, very dark thread puzzle. I'm hoping everything now resets with chapter 4 and we'll get some easier puzzles and maybe we will slowly work our way up and get something somewhat difficult but not anywhere as difficult as chapter 3. Maybe chapter 3 is just going to be the spike and then it will just be all downhill from as far as difficulty is concerned from this point and just easy victories. We should have done the metal theft successfully, unless the story's going to go in a different direction, which would be weird to set up and tease the idea of stealing the lead ore and then you start the next chapter and you actually failed at the lead ore. So once we have lead ore, we probably will get a new glyph or gimmick or some kind of gameplay mechanic for at least a couple of puzzles, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's really just one or two out of all that will be given to us. Um, we will be mostly just doing more of the same. Here we have a decoded message, which is seemingly written in just the alchemical symbols. Now, it's worth mentioning of the alchemical symbols being shown here, I'm seeing air, fire, salt, but I'm not seeing mercury. I'm not seeing vitae or mors. I'm not seeing any of the metals. So I don't see any way that you could write an encoded message using basically 5 characters and it not be incredibly longer than this. This almost feels like a one-to-one translation. Um, there's 26 letters in the alphabet, for instance. So if you would go to 2 to the power of 1 gives you 2 characters, 2 to the powers of 2 gives you 4, 8, 16, 32. Best case scenario, you would need 5 characters to represent one character, one letter of the alphabet in binary. But I suppose if it's 5, and it wouldn't be binary, then it would be 5 to the power of 1, which would give you 5 characters, 5 to the power of 2, which would give you 25 characters, and 5 to the power of 3, which would be 125 characters. So, yeah, 3 characters for one letter of the alphabet might make sense, but is this even 3 times as long as this? So I would just have to assume that this is gibberish and this doesn't actually translate into any code. There's an underlined part here that probably doesn't mean anything. And this part here may mean something. All this probably is to imply at the very least that it means something, but who knows. It's been translated though. They're quite capable. And then what does that say? Dare say the best of this type I've seen, in fact. Trustworthiness. They'll likely stick to the deal built around shared aims, but they're therefore not the types to develop blind loyalty. They're not the types to develop blind loyalty. Why not meet them yourself? They're holed up in the abandoned shop along the river Nils. So Nils has basically sent an encoded message to somebody. So maybe Niels is a spy more than he's just your average thief, and therefore I guess the story is going to go forward from that idea, whereas it really felt like Niels was just a character being added kind of for no reason to be the thief. It kind of feels like backward writing, frankly, is that they needed this house Soraya to somehow be able to hire our main character and basically his girlfriend, for lack of a better descriptor. Therefore, they throw in a spy slash thief in Nils in the previous chapter, when it would have made a lot more sense in chapter 3 if our girlfriend just tried to rob the lead ore herself, or the alchemist tried to rob the lead ore themselves and didn't rely on anybody. So we're still in the abandoned tailor shop at the Downriver Quarries, and here we have Clara Soraya. So Concordia Lim starts the conversation, and it seems weird in writing. I won't say if it's good or bad, it's a matter of opinion, but it definitely seems weird to have the character who's not really the character you're playing, not really the hero of the story, start conversations. I think it would be fairly easier to just say, have a single line of who's this, and then you can do some introductions and move into the story you want to tell, or just a simple hello, even to start with Anataeus first, though. But no, it starts with Concordia Lim. You sure you won't get in trouble hanging out in the bad part of town with a rogue alchemist? My parents don't know. I spend a lot of time in the observatory, and they always assume I'm there. Not as if they would check for themselves. It's a shame you never get to use you never got to use Van Tassen's observatory when you visited. I was tasked with fixing it right afterwards. So this is the lady that dated the son of the Van Tassen house, before everybody in the Van Tassen house pretty much got killed. That's okay. I still had a nice time. Even though you were with Frederick. Excuse me, I loved Frederick. You what? He was kind to me. Maybe the only one who's ever been. It was really nice spending time with him. It's true that kindness is a rare trait in a house heir. I wish I could have protected him. He didn't deserve the world he was born into. None of us do. Like, barely even a conversation there. And then, once again, we have Sigmar's Garden. Which I almost wonder if we don't unlock the second version of Sigmar's Garden by getting 10 victories compared to just moving the story forward. I was thinking we would get the other version of Sigmar's Garden just by moving the story forward, but yeah, I could be wrong about that. Let's see. This would show blue, but honestly, I guess that's all I can do at the moment if I was going to do that. Got 2 Mercuries, which may be too many Mercuries. 3 Mercuries. This would not reveal anything. This would not reveal anything. Well, this is weird. Salt and salt would give us a fire. This and this Does nothing. Just move forward. Yep. Again, just I think another great example of I don't think that was solvable. I don't care if the creators of this game say every puzzle is solvable. That does not feel like that was solvable. Let's get to the programming. So this is the raw lead ore. You should have seen when we had cases and cases of gin around here. Why, to isolate individual elements from the alcohol? Yes, exactly. How resourceful you are of you. That's a sharp deduction, Clara. I've always been interested in alchemy, but my mother says it's too dangerous for me to pursue. She thinks I'd explode the place. Alchemy is dangerous, but not in the way your mother thinks. Yeah, there is kind of an inherent major danger. This is where I figured we'd eventually go with these kind of rings, is that we'd have a center spot, which honestly I think that makes it kind of easier. Oh, no, this makes it way easier because I'm starting with litharge, which I kind of want to know what litharge is supposed to be. Okay. This one probably is more simple than it seems. Take this. Let's not make this overly complicated if we can avoid that. This has to be somewhere in the center. I guess we'll keep this fairly easy. Nope, that won't work. Would have to be somewhere here. And that would just have something crash in the way. I think we'll just start with the basics. A simple grab and then rotate. Make sure that doesn't crash into something. It totally does. Do we have to rotate really though? Can we not just say have a track? Like, obviously I have this aversion towards the concept of just using a track when clearly these tracks, while not perfect by any means, are the solution. This is a bonding glyph. We needed an unbonding glyph. Okay. Rotate. Move this over here. Move this over here. Move this here. Move this here. Pivot this way. While you're at this point, see if you can grab one and rotate. I think it's probably a little premature that the second spot here could grab, rotate, and then at least that's all it's gonna do though, is it's just gonna repeat that over and over again. I think we will probably have to do it twice, or I'll have to grab simply one and take only that one, which that might be the better move. Hmm. Yeah, here's where you run into the danger though. Because now you're taking another one. This one should pivot at every opportunity. How can we adjust this? We could have it pivot the other way, or we could just grab, take this, start here, draw the tracks the other direction. We don't want any real gaps in time, so as soon as the opportunity to grab one and turn can happen, we want it to happen. Which might mean we need little bits of breaks of time, since we're gonna do several things. One, two, 3, 4, 5, 6, and there will be a 7th time also. Okay. One here. One here. One here. Another one here. And then What I'll do is I'll drag this here for 5 more and then reset. What happened? We missed a pivot, obviously. Why does it like go like that? It lets go because the splitter is probably in the wrong place. And so now it's just rotating this one without getting the last two. So start by putting that there so it takes up a little less space. And we'll see if maybe that is the best move for this. I suspect it isn't. I suspect we need to do something closer to this. That's probably what we need to do. Alright. Here's the problem though, is now I've got to squeeze in another pivot. Or I need to grab, let's see. This one should be disconnected. And yet it's showing it's not disconnected. Oh, I hate to potentially say it should be here. That doesn't change too much and probably uses less area. Yeah, there's a lot of opportunity here to change things up in such a way that really just ruins the entire plan. See if we set this back this way. Alright. Do I need to move everything back and start over again? If I put it here and then it's brought forward, it does break a lot of the bonds. Although I don't know if I'm not just kind of wasting time. See if this works. I think I'm going in circles at this point. Maybe I need to rotate everything the opposite direction. Change every single pivot to the other direction. And we'll see how that works. Well, you know, this might be something that's a little bit easier if I simply start over here, but then rotate this so the angles are a little bit different. Let's see if this works. We would need another plus back. I wonder if there's kind of an easier way to potentially like break all the bounds on something like this too for more efficiency. Seems like there might be, but you would have to potentially grab all of these and have all of these move at the exact same speed across a path. And at the end of the day, them all moving at the same speed and path doesn't break it down to these two outputs. Right. This. Will we start? Nope. Ridiculous. Just have to drag all of this code just to bump it forward one. Wow. Boy, did that not work. That broke two of the bonds. And maybe I can move everything back. Maybe I'm just being stupid here and trying to optimize, and in the effort of trying to optimize, I'm wasting a lot of time. See if that works. Yeah. Ideally, this should work for pretty much everything. At least until we get to the last piece, but we may have to just do something different on last pieces. Okay. Let's see. At this point, instead of pivoting again, maybe we just go plus and release, and then minus pick up and then pivot it one that way and then plus and release, or frankly it could just be reset. Let's see how that works. Let's see. Another pivot. And another plus. A plus, then two pivots, then a plus. Well, that's a shame, but I think that will probably be the easiest way to solve this, and I'm not sure it's really worth it to try anything else. Yeah, I don't think this one even is gonna play a role. Release minus minus. Pick up plus plus. See how that works. Go ahead and get rid of that code, that stuff. What we'll want to see is a general idea of, is there a better way Yeah, I suppose there is a more efficient way here. Instead of going plus pivot pivot plus, we should go plus pivot plus pivot. Also, it feels like to me there's a spin here that is probably just not necessary. So let's take that out. Not that that's really adding any cycles or anything. Yeah, I think this pivot here maybe is what's unnecessary. Yeah. Which means I think all of this code could probably happen a little bit faster. Yeah, I don't know if I'm really saving money at this point by having a track when I really should just have an extendable arm. Although you still need a track, so I'm maybe adding 10 gold that are extra, but that's probably it. In this case, I'm going to just go plus one more, and then negative after you pick it up, and then reset. And let's see if that works. I just want to get this to work before I even start to think about And see, it doesn't matter if it gets out of order. It doesn't matter at all. There, we've got a solution. And as far as area-wise is concerned, it's not even that bad. And I can see optimization working here fairly well. I could... Now, money-wise, is there anything we could do to lower it? Seems like there is. So... to lower money-wise, I think you could probably just have this capable of grabbing a piece and then like swinging here and dropping a piece there, and then possibly even swinging here, picking up and dropping a piece here. So you free one here, you grab, you swing, you release, you grab again. If it's the wrong thing, you go back one, and that solves your issues as far as the space issues. Ooh, space-wise. This one, and this one seem extra. And you could either think you can put this one here and this one here, and then you probably need these empty, otherwise there's just this high risk of it breaking, it colliding and crashing with something, even though really I kind of don't expect that to happen. But there is a problem with this strategy. We need to be able to take something out of the cycle. Because if we break everything and this is a free gem, I need to be able to go to the left and not here where there might be a gem. And there almost certainly will be a gem here, here, and here. Again. So, go that route, you go that route. And then there'd be an overhang here, which I don't know if that really means that's being used or not. Okay. So starting with the default code, you would then, on this pivot, need to like release, extend, grab, plus. And honestly, you're better off simply starting here and putting more code to have you here as your reset instead of potentially doing something else. But that would mean the first thing you're gonna do is hit minus, 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 grab, oh, you don't have to do the grab part, just start there with that code. Pivot, reset, extend, grab, plus, reset, pivot, yeah, and you wish you could just make a function out of this, but you can't, so you would have to copy all the code over and over again 7 times. Okay. Here's the next problem. It doesn't work. We need to be able to go here, grab, plus, plus, reset. You need to be able to grab before we pivot. And the good news is I suppose in this case you probably can alternate the code somewhat. Is there any other way to make this use less space though? I suspect there probably is, but I feel like it would be so incredibly tricky. And I'm kind of not interested. See, it's at this point I would want to just get rid of this code and see if I could restart, but if I repeat, that won't work either. So you would have to put the same code over and over again with a slight modification, which would be just a function in any other kind of programming language with a variable of, do you go from to this point or do you go to this point? Otherwise the function is exactly the same. And unfortunately, that's not really what would happen here. And I'm just not interested in putting in the rest of this code. If I'm going to save myself from any frustration, I'm going to have to give up on this code eventually in favor of moving on to the next puzzle and just doing something different, which might be more interesting. This code is just super long already. I think this next iteration is where things start changing too. So you won't just be able to pivot anymore because everything will be broken. Is there a way in which this you could save more money? Yes, there is. Because we could start by rotating this and then just going to this point instead. And that eliminates the need for anywhere as much. If we started here and rotated here, there's a possibility you'd also save some area. I hate the idea of potentially rewriting all the code again. Yeah. Actually, don't think you would change that much of the code. Reset position is here. This time it's just going to go 1, and then it's going to rotate and then grab and then unrotate and plus. Well, that didn't work. Let's try that again this way, but I seriously doubt it would work. That does create kind of a nice pattern where if there was another one here, you could have a level of efficiency. Alright, well. So swinging. Possible. Certainly, but not worth the effort. Let's just finish this code and be done with it. Alright, this is the point. Where is this being highlighted? Way over here. Where it's trying to pivot when it should just be extend. Here. Extend. Positive. Reset. Then at that point it is negative, and then grab, and then I guess you go positive at that point and just pivot it 2 times. Then it should be completely disconnected at that point, so you can extend. Then you should be able to go positive, positive, reset. See if that all works before we go any further. And I definitely do see okay, slight problem just with one positive. If you staggered this, so this was here instead, and maybe even had the road, the track go this way, you could potentially save yourself some area and some space. But I think you still take up this much regardless. I don't think, yeah, you're saving maybe 10 gold, not worth rewriting to save 10 gold. Maybe saving, oh, maybe 1 square in this case. Alright. So we need to now, as our last act, extend, go negative, pick it up, go positive, positive, and then release. if there's a mistake here, it's going to be, I think, a fairly obvious mistake. Yeah. This. I think we've got this, so we'll just hit play and hope it works. And I guess I could click stop, but it seems like by the time something crashes or goes wrong, your reaction time would have to be fairly high anyways. So yeah. There's a way to do this slightly with less money, slightly with less area. So I've made what is effectively an optimized solution that really isn't even that optimized. But this is kind of the great example of if you were a programmer and you were just getting paid on a salary to continuously work on different programs, it might very well behoove your manager to say, hey, yeah, we realize that you could spend another 20 hours making this code slightly more efficient, but it's not worth us paying you to do that. We've got better things for you to do with your time. On the other hand, if you were some command and control CNC operator in Foxconn and you literally are just looking for every fraction of a penny through optimization of code, maybe you would get another 20 hours of work out of this. Of course, you're running into the danger of there being just artificial intelligence that could beat you. You can see the cycles here are way high. And the cost, we did get it down by 10 gold compared to the last, and that's still not low enough. It seems like the actual score might be even below 50. I don't think so, though. That seems kind of crazy. These metrics and histograms are terribly displayed. For a programming game that should, the game itself should work a lot better than it does. What I'm more interested in, though, would be the idea, and I don't know how much time I'll really spend on this, but can we grab a couple things and move them at the same time? So, like, just simple question. Can two arms grab and move in the same direction? Grab, plus. That's all I want to know. Yes. So then, theoretically, we should be able to have something here, and we basically need a couple tracks. And really, this, you wouldn't use a couple tracks. You would make a much better job of this. So 1 and 2, then 3, 4, and 5, and 6, and 7. So you just have this pattern. Now it would be simply a matter of getting everything in order and getting everything, well, getting everything disconnected, and then B, getting everything in order. So as far as connections are concerned, this one, and this one breaks a lot of them, but not everything. Then this one, this one, and this one breaks a lot of, but not everything. Wow, I don't know if there's a more efficient way to do this, because this is getting fairly crazy. And then that one, and then that one, and then that one, and you just can't even get it all on the screen at the same time. Which, if there was a glyph of multi-breaking, I could use that and it would be the exact same internal pattern. And almost certainly your next puzzle is one of the next puzzles is gonna ask you to make a pattern like this, and it's gonna be insane. I feel like what we're going to end up doing is moving the pattern even more in a different direction. Is there a better way to move these around? Like, this breaks this, so is this redundant? Actually, yes. Redundant here and redundant here. It would just be this one that's not redundant. And is there a better pattern for something like this? If I was to squish something here and then squish something here, doesn't that squeeze in a little bit better? Doesn't that squeeze in a little bit better? Squeeze that in, squeeze that in. As long as these are at the same heights, everything should be the same. Okay. Well, this is going to be a lot of the same code. Creating effectively a conveyor belt. In fact, we have 8 lines of code here, and That's just gonna be a nightmare. And I can't use a repeat because if I used a repeat, it would just repeat the grab and the forward. And, well, the grab when you're already grabbing something doesn't really matter. It would just be adding more code and complicating it even further. Adding pointless code. Which, yeah, that would be completely unacceptable, to write code that you knowingly knew was just wasting CPU processing cycles. I kind of even doubt that this is going to get far enough. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I think we need to go 7 minimum before we even start to hit the play button. And this definitely is not going to be the cheapest solution by any means. Let's see, if I was to press like G, yeah, you can hold down G and then place it. So if you're using a keyboard with this, I am confused, but not super confused, because I have accidentally used a whole bunch of connector pieces instead of breaker pieces. Slight adjustment there, easily fixed. That's everything broken now at this point. So that's perfect. And so this is where it starts to get crazy though. If I had more outputs, I could do it, but six and 3. Six becomes 1, and 3 becomes 2. Release. While everybody else would have to wait. And 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Just making giant conveyor belts around. And like, I'm making such a large conveyor belt system that it's taking up the entire screen. And you're just gonna have to hope that that all works. Hmm. A, I think these are upside down. Yes, they are. B, I don't think this one got moved to 2 like it should have. Okay. So then you have to add everything up for another step. And at that point, 7 should become 3 and let go. And then 6 should become 4 and let go. And I don't know if this is gonna work, because I guess maybe you're not looking for high efficiency extendable or cheap arms. Yeah, see, now you have this different pattern. And so I don't know at this point if it's really worth your time to try for this different pattern, or should you just leave everything where it is in favor of something like this. But I don't even know how you would grab things and start spinning things around. Oh, I think it's at this point that I part ways with even trying to make this code efficient, because what the next step is to replace all of these with extendable arms, which it's going to be a case of putting in a whole bunch more code after this first step. Just a ton more code that is going to try and pull all of the irons out, or you just turn them all to sodium. Can you do that with iron? No. So you would still have to do that. But yeah, the mission would be to bring all of the irons upward and make a orderly line, I think, and then all the sodiums downward, or even just in the same place. And there's only 3 sodiums, so the irons with 4 pieces would take slightly longer. You could possibly do something like this. And maybe try and save a little bit of room. Yeah. I don't think I want to debug that though. I want to have to find like this one and give it an extension, or move this one upward in the same steps. Plus, once you start getting the sorting going, which probably wouldn't be that hard to, I mean, no, it would be fairly difficult. Like, at this point, it would be number 1 that instead of letting go, it would be 1 and 3. One and 3 should let go, and then 3 should, instead of going forward, retract and let go. And then I think that probably means everything else has to just wait a turn. It's not even retract and let go. It's retract and go back 1, which it can't do. Because it would crash into number 4. So it would have to go number 3 should probably go forward 1 and then rotate back 1 and see if that gets it in the right place, which nope. It's not gonna work that way. Yeah, it's just gonna crash into everything. If it tries to rotate. Which definitely makes more of an argument to have the pieces start there. Okay. So while we're at this next step, if we took 3, 4, and 5, these 3, and just extended them all, would that work? No. Because this one can't extend. So we've got to find this one as the next step. And it as number 5 needs to go 1 step forward and then a retraction and then a let go. And actually I don't think 1 retraction puts it in the actual right place. Right. Also means these should not move at all. Two forward, 2 retractions and let go. Didn't need 2 forwards. Arguably, we don't even need this. Okay. And then the next step should be just everything else moving forward. And is that the right order? No. So can't really do a dance there, so I think what you would want to do, I was thinking maybe you could take all 4 of these and put them in circles, but you'd just collide your arms doing that. So instead, what I think you do is probably go forward with these 2, extend with both, and then this would be the one that would actually drop, where this one would then have to retract twice and drop. And I think that means these don't move until that point. Does this retract? Extend, retract, retract. What went wrong there? Like, even at this point, it should be extending. I think I've got the 2 backwards here. Let's see, there's really no reason to not extend and extend earlier. And then I'm amused as to what the problem is here. 1 releases when it shouldn't. Why are neither one of these extending enough? Alright, well, unfortunately, and this is going to ruin my concentration on this, I'm going to have to pause and take a break. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So it's been several minutes since I finished, which, yeah, that's not going to help me remember what I was doing. Yeah, it still doesn't make sense. Like, why does this one not move in the right direction? Why is it retracting when it should extend? Am I telling it to retract? Extend, extend. Retract, retract. Where is number 3? This is number 5. This is number 4. So why is this just not going in the right direction? Like, both times that should have been able to extend, and yet they didn't. Maybe because they're at the 3rd farthest away point and they can't extend. That's the problem. So, yeah, it doesn't matter how much I tell them to extend, it's not doable. We need a little dance, as silly as it may seem, where this one would go forward, this one I guess can't extend. Wow. I think what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to bring in the big guns and use this here. This one, number 2, to go back and pick something up. Which, okay, if it drops there and then went negative, can it do negative, and then picked up one, well, this one would have let go. I'm thinking. Picked up one, it should be this, then it should go positive. Then it should extend. Theoretically, this one should be able to extend. And then drop. Negative pickup. Positive. Extend, drop. Then another negative pickup, retract, and then drop. That pretty much means, let's see if that works. Seems like that's unnecessary, but maybe it is. Is it? Because this one's at a 3 and this one's at a 3. If we swapped it around, and had them in different places, in a different starting position and different links, would that have changed anything? We gotta move these way over here. See, this one is touching the center, this one's touching the center, this one's touching the center. Like, it could only be shorter. And this one could only be shorter. Yeah, I think once again you'd have to overcomplicate this, and you'd probably want to put a track at the top, or 2 tracks at the top and 1 track at the bottom, to manipulate things faster. And this really is another case in which I think I'm gonna have to part ways with the code, because there's just so much redundancy and wasted effort you'd have to put into this to optimize further. Let's go ahead and move all of these at the same point. Because now you're taking all these extra steps. Just a ton of extra steps. Yep, and you can't reset. You've got to just let go and continue things down the path. Which, at a certain point in this code, I would just have to add like 7 to 14 pluses in code. And that's not efficiency. It's not real efficiency. This again should be able to retract and then let go. Of course, what happened there? Why did those last 2 not get dropped? Then the next part about this also is, if you were going to do this correctly, you would have a whole nother set of, let's see how many, 7 extendable arms, many of which don't actually have to be extendable arms. You'd have a whole nother set just ready and willing and working on this next step. Let's see. And so this whole hitch up here would not be acceptable, because you would have a whole nother set ready to go. And if I had multiple outputs, I could just draw the pattern of how things are. Arguably this track angle is wrong, and we have pieces that are crashing even though they are moving in the same direction. No, it's not. That's not the problem. Problem is we just need code to move forward. You know what you could also do, if you just wanted the least efficient yet the most efficient, just be prepared to potentially dump all the salt. You only need 16 products. You can get an infinite amount of things here. You could just lose the salt and put everything here, or you could even just take the salt and dump everything else out. Let me just show that, and then I'm gonna move on to the next thing. It's weird, you click new and it doesn't actually make any jump into the new thing. Okay. Start with that. It's also kind of weird. You drag this down here and it disappears when it probably should just not do anything. Okay. The pattern I see that would best suit this would be to end up holding just one of these molecules and instead moving this to the left so it breaks these two. But at that point, you need those two to break. Yeah, and I think this is where it would just get complicated again. Like, if you take this, so it goes over this one, then it goes over this one, then that should break most of the connections except for this connection. Over this one, over this one, over that one. And then you set your output there. That would leave you with the 3 in the middle. Is this possibly going to be the more efficient solution? Or maybe not. Maybe you're better off, say, just trying to break the salts only, which this and then a rotate of this would just give you the salts, and then dump the other 3 far to the left dump all the metal far to the left because you're not even going to bother to break those apart. I mean, ideally, you would want to be able to get one metal and one iron, but to do that would require to break the center part, and then you lose your spoke, your wheel spoke, as a concept. And so you'd have to be fairly careful about where you lost that wheel spoke, and yeah, I think it just gets really complicated really fast. And I'm increasingly tired in as far as trying to solve these programming puzzles that are really just puzzles and not really feeling like it has anything to do with programming. Now, in all fairness, maybe I came into this from the wrong perspective, and maybe I should have never thought of this as a programming game at all and just thought of it as a puzzle game. If that's the case, I'm still not sure I like it. I mean, I can try to look at it from that perspective. I probably won't succeed very well, but even as a puzzle game, there's entire mechanics here that are missing from things like human resources machine. See, let's continue the story. Extracting the essence of lead from ore, there's something no alchemist has had to do for centuries. Solving the ancient problems for yourself must be fascinating, though. Maybe. In a way, you're reinventing the field on your own. That's one way to look at it. For my part, I keep thinking I've traveled backward in time. What fun, though, retracing the origins of alchemy. Whatever, let's move on. I don't even really get the idea of limiting you to doing one puzzle before you get several other puzzles. Like, why not just unlock that by default? I don't suppose you have something that will get out a stain, so we're making stain remover another just kind of side quest challenge. What happened? I just slipped a little on the way, and I don't want to give my parents any opportunity to be suspicious. We can get that cleaned up like new, I'm sure. They are pretending to be a tailor, so I would think tailors would also be able to clean. Stain remover. Now we're back to the old Van Tassen times. To think I was just getting so full of myself. Now, have we at some point done a stain remover before? We should check that in the menu just to see. It is possible we have, and now we're just finally, like 4 out of potentially 6 chapters, maybe just 5 chapters, where we might be getting the same puzzles with new optimizations and new ways of speeding things up. So we have this glyph of purification that transmutes 2 atoms of the same metal into a single atom of the next higher form. This is the idea of transmutation that is just magic and makes no sense. To make something in science and chemistry, like the atom above it, would basically be nuclear fusion, if I'm not mistaken, and that takes way more energy than it's worth. Unlike the glyph of projection, it does not require quicksilver. Quicksilver, by the way, is just the old-fashioned way of saying mercury, and there's not anything particularly special about mercury compared to any other metal. Mercury's interesting, certainly as a metal, as they all are. What's funny here is this solution does not have a vertical option. I kind of hate the hex grid. Like if these were squares, I think I could solve a lot more. Although, if these were squares, then you would have something that would probably go into just the 4 corners of a square, or maybe the sides and corners of a square. Okay. So our goal, so we've got to get 2 of these on that, so we could probably start fairly quickly back this way. Just start with that because that's where we're gonna be. And I don't know if I'm gonna look for any efficiency at all on this. Yeah, I just don't know. Like, you've got to get the result here over there. We also haven't even begun to think about how the binding would all happen. This might be one of the rare times in which this is actually useful. Well, actually, if it is going to be useful, I may have to rotate things and do it twice. It's probably the way this is going to go. Could we not worrying about the sodium to start with? Could we just have a chain going as far as 2 and 3? So 2 and 3 would pick up 1. They would go 2, and then 3 would just go 1 more, and then reset, and then reset. Meanwhile, number 1 is just gonna pick up, rotate twice, and then reset, and then pick up, rotate once, and then reset. And that should be all the code we really need for number 1 at all. Yep. What happened there? How did this mess up? 2 and 3. 1. Okay, I see. I need actually a couple extra pluses. Alright. Let's just keep that all nice and tidy. And leave that point. So next step I'm gonna probably regret, but for starters, let's just have this happen. Number 4 is gonna pick this up, and it's going to move 3 to the right. 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to see if I can pivot twice on that to spin it around. It's too early. Has to happen probably one step after this point. Yep. Still too early. Is this in the correct position? No. So let's put a space there and see if that gets that in the right position. Is that in the right position? Yes. Or you have to kind of wait until things get out of the way. Okay. I think that means we probably won't need this piece. Let's expand this so it's a little bit taller so it has more room. One more rotate. And we gotta figure out how we can get where the salt pads should be. Is it here? Maybe. What happened there? Why was that working fine before? Now isn't working. Maybe that's an extra one that just got dragged there. No? That's too early. Get it. I must have just moved things slightly in a different direction. Yeah, that might be what's happening here. There must be repetitions here that I'm making mistakes on. Yeah. One probably doesn't need to be repeated, but maybe 2 and 3 do. Yeah, just kind of a weird coincidence that it was working up until this point, even though my code was kind of wrong. Right. So put it here, I think, and you'd be fine with the salt. Okay. We're gonna have to do something slightly different later. But not too different. Okay. This would be the point where we need to bring this down one to get out of the way. Put that there. Is this really the cheapest solution? No, we're doing a weird kind of hybrid of what the cheapest solution would be. Nor is this really the least amount of area, almost certainly. Let's see. So, yeah, I need repeats again on this one. And it's probably easier just to do that one again. And then this one. And that one. And at some point, we can go there. Okay. We need to pivot it, I think probably twice, and then back twice. And then I should own this, so 1, 2, 3, and then reset. 2, 3, reset. See how that plays. I think, actually, if I go back this way, here, and kind of bump back up, might be able to avoid the pivots. Of course, that's kind of gonna have to be fairly precise. This is another one of these combinations where you're gonna have to just wait. Right, so it's not back up, it would be back up at that point. But it does drop it. So this here. Try that again. And what went wrong? Oh, they've thrown me through. They've thrown me through a twist here. This is right up until this point. Works perfectly fine. But what then starts to fall apart is this part. So, to adjust for that, number 3, after this spot, I think would have to rotate it the opposite direction. And I question if that's right. I really question if that would work, or if that is going to work the way it should, even if it is right. So I can't do repeat. I'd have to change the code. So pick it up, go 1, 2, is there no way to do this better? Instead of just trying to rewrite the code? Can we get a more physical, practical solution instead? Okay. if this were to pivot in the opposite direction, and this was longer, just like straight up stretch this here. 1, 2, 3. 3. Like, that probably doesn't change much. It's just taking up more space. And honestly, I just want to get it done, so... Like, why is this not working? This is right. Before we do anything else, is this symbol that's getting made the right metal? Yes. It must be a connection I'm making a mistake with. Oh, it is. Oh man, I had this and I almost wasted a lot of time trying to rewrite code. So yeah, in practicality we don't need this, which that just makes that take up less space visually, and we know the interface is not there. Right. I think all I need to do is put a pivot here and then undo a pivot here. Let's just pan the screen to try to center the image as much as possible. Almost had it. Just need to move these 2 bits of code here or that there, and then just move everything there. Why is that not working? Oh, I see what's going wrong here. Well, ooh, there's no connection between these two in the center. Which would make an argument for using a debreaker like that. Yeah. That'll work. Move that one closer. This one's still... We'll try this, but this probably will crash. Okay. Maybe here. That still probably won't work, but we'll see. Yeah, there's clearly going to be some more efficient ways to solve this. But I think I would just kind of prefer to have a solution and be done with it than not have a solution and be frustrated, and or in theory have a solution. There we go. Taking up more screen space than you can have at the lower resolution, going in really ridiculous directions in a very far, like, linear fashion as far as your design. And see, what's crazy about this, I think more than anything, is that how much of this solution, which I am not happy with, is kind of the average solution. Like, the standards are not high by any means. I would think you could probably maybe break some things if you went a little bit crazier with it. Like, set that up. Just theoretically, if you're going to try and have the least amount of space taken up, set it up in something like that pattern there. If you're going to save money, you would replace this one here with an extendable arm, and then you would have the extendable arm do all of the movement, including this down here. So just an incredible amount of code to pick it up, get it to about this point, and then perhaps at that point you could pick the right piece up and swivel it into place. But as you would adjust for that, you would also have to adjust for the location of this one thing. I think logically you probably don't need the Glyph of Unbonding. Also, if you're trying to save the minimal amount of space or money. Let's see. I think space-wise you probably could have something like this. And that might mean, honestly, that if you can put this here and then rotate this with it not hitting this point, which is a big if. Yeah. Let's see. If this was here, it would have a piece on top of that, which is fine. You could have a piece there and a piece there. And when it rotated, it would not hit this if there isn't anything there. So I could see that. And then when this pivoted, it very well might be touching more pieces, like here or here, definitely here, and almost certainly there. If you're just carefully manipulating things, you can get rid of this point and have that there, here, and here. I'm not gonna really try and encode this, so here at this point could be your start point, which then could be this. This won't work, but this would, because you're gonna only have one arm moving things around. Could you have a piece here instead? No, I think you would just crash into things. Could potentially have a piece here, but there's, and I don't know if there's really any efficiency to be had by doing that. So I would suspect that 32 is probably the beginning of where about you would build a pattern like this, and then it would be a nightmare. It would be just an ultimate nightmare of code. Like the best case scenario I can even imagine that you would want to do is like start somewhere here to put like this piece, 1, 2, 3, rotate, and then extend, and then reset. Like just to get one piece in the right place. What happened to rotate? Rotate and unrotate. In code like this, where you do something then you undo it, because it's not taking into account all the physical variables, it looks like you're not really doing anything, so it would make some sense to potentially have some optimization code, or make people think that they need to optimize their code. Right. And then the next step of this would be to pick it up again, rotate, extend, and then plus twice, probably, and then pivot, and then reset. And see if you could get the code to even repeat that much. That would be something. I suspect instead of extending, I probably have to go negative, negative, and then extend, and then positive. Just as the code would get more complicated, I think that probably would be a requirement. But it doesn't seem like you could probably repeat. Just use the repeat to build more than that subsection before then you would have to put some code in here to build the center one. Unless you want to start with the center one. Which maybe there's an idea there, but probably not. To potentially write this here, take it there, then pick it up here, take it here, then come up here and pick that up, then just leave it there for the time being, go back to where you started, do the code we just did to create a blue and a salt, put it here, rotated just perfectly, come back to this point, push it further, and then maybe pivot it in the hopes that you can just continuously push a pattern until you've gotten the entire pattern built. Yep, it would be a massive amount of code, but it would work. Or at least I think it would work. But let's just look at the story and just move forward, because every time I try and waste time doing these better solutions, I'm not really getting anywhere with it, and frankly I could just look up the answers online and see other people's solutions. If this is 50, then this would be 40, this would be 30, so the amount of area on this one right now when we hit play is 32. I wouldn't be surprised if that is very much in line with what the solution is. Is there anything here I would want to try and do as far as increasing the speed on this? Well, it feels like maybe you could get salts. Just get the salts going quite a bit with something like this. And then maybe you could have this on a track wheel that would take a bunch. And take two and then spin it over a salt pad and put it on the back side, and then take two more and spin it over a salt pad and put it on the back side, and then somehow figure out how to get this on a track somewhere, which I would suspect you're gonna have to do something closer to this if you were gonna do something like that. And if you were to do that, that doesn't work. So yeah, slight confusion there. Maybe you could pick this up, run over a salt pad, and put it down. But you do have to have everything connected. So you still would have to deal with the center part. So if I thought there was any optimization as far as the outer edges, I really don't have much of a clue as far as optimization on the center part. Like, my best guess is if we did a pattern like this and a pattern like that, and we had the builds prepared and over this, and then we just drag the solution over this. That's probably what you would want to try to do, but that is generally what you try to do to optimize for cycles anyways. It's just to create a production line mentality and concept. So the story continues. That works surprisingly well. I imagine you could sell the solvent if you had in mind to go into business. Maybe we should. We've already had a good joke about becoming clothiers. How lovely, though. I'd go to you for all my couture. All we need is the mannequin and we can open up shop right here. Yes, what a great location. This sort of thing is amusing to speak of in jest, but sometimes I do wish I could lead a simple life. Perhaps one day you can. Oh, I rather doubt it. Alright, well, the story continues, although kind of shockingly slow. Like, sword alloy here would kind of imply that we're building up weapons to take on our enemies, but then you have invisible ink and then purified gold, which we promised purified gold to the thief a while ago. Meanwhile, we still have Sigmar's garden for what it's worth. And the irony here is we're getting closer than we were as far as rage quitting, and the thing I thought I wouldn't end up playing would have totally been Sigmar's garden, and yet Sigmar's garden, as bad as I think it is, as a mini game, is nowhere as frustrating as some of these puzzles. That was a bad choice. Air to review fire. And Vitae don't match, and that doesn't match. So we are quickly doomed. Nope, we lost. Yep, and on that loss, I think we'll end this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.